All bark and no bite. That's what LGD felt like. You would say, good boy. But not this time around. You want a guard dog. You want a dog that protects you from when you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep at night. My name's Jake Hysteric Sosipenko. This is Brento Raz Muhammad, and I want to see the bite come out of this wild animal.
Yeah, I would love it. I mean, everything else is looking good. For LGD, the early game had been down back, but then the problem was, legitimately, when they found a super-fed Yuuki on the Akali.
At 10 minutes.
At 10 minutes. I've never seen a gunblade be picked up that early. Issue is, like, they played well, I think, putting on Akali on side lane and then threatening Vladimir. He wasn't picking up the wave early on. There's a lot of good that was happening for LGD, but it's when you get that finishing blow that they were unwilling to take. A lot of teams in the LPL is like, but I don't like a 50-50, but it doesn't have to be a 50-50 as long as you look to pick up the fight around Baron. When you get to a point where you're just so strong and you have the option of going for the third Cloud Dragon or going towards what was a Baron buff at that time and trying to pick up that mid-game fight, I think they chose the wrong option, and they found that out when Vladimir was picking up his Rabadon's death cap.
It's almost uncharacteristic of new LGD, though, especially since their shot calling has been a lot better since we've made that interchange between PYL and RD.
Well, there's the difference between a lot better and headstrong. I think a lot better has meant that their early game is a lot more down-packed, and there's coordination.
Very true.
I don't see coordination when PYL is in there. I think he would go in, and you're like,
follow.
Amy is all the way that way. But PYL was headstrong in the sense that the Alistars you saw in week 1 when he was playing, he would look for fights. He was someone that wanted fights. He was decisive. So there needs to be a middle ground where you're making the right calls but also willing to go for the play.
Whereas the transition over to the other side of the jungle, beishang had I would say a pretty comfortable early game considering what happened. And you said, look, he should just be looking to farm up, and he did. He played towards his strengths.
Yeah, he played it towards what with his team strength as well. Being able to put down the necessary wards, double Scuttle Crab is always nice. Just be able to keep your lane safe. Yeah. So got that one going for you. The only thing you had to really worry about was the constant ganks bottom lane that you may see happening, but you can't do anything about. I think the choice that they ended up making, most teams what they'll do is have either Lucian trying to hug bottom lane, and if they want to keep them safe, then you commit to the teleport. That was the first mistake of not doing that. The other one is actually try and have Lucian around mid lane, so you give away bottom lane, but then you just really throw in Lucian and have the Vladimir chip at the mid lane turret. That happened with only the Vladimir, and I think they didn't take the best of those options, but they still had that option.
They really did.
And Vladimir was picking up the turret on his own.
Xiye got solo turret gold, skyrocketed ahead, put himself in the side lane, and put himself in line of fire of MVP, which is what it seems like most Vladimirs are getting around these days anyway.
Yeah, when you see a Vladimir just go out there, and he has his full item front, the enemy team's like, well, what the hell do we do now? The Vladimir doesn't get picked up globally because early game is what matters, and you can't get past the early game more often than not. But in the LPL, where the games are actually getting longer, where teams are actually getting to the point where early game is well protected, unless if you're going up against, let's spitball in that IG, and it is very scrappy. You're starting to see these late game tanks and carries start to come out.
It's also easier to snowball, especially in this meta, so it makes perfect sense that the Vladimir coincides nicely. beishang is always where we want to come back to because I feel very confident in this jungler that he's someone who just keeps moving forward and forward, especially in comparison to Magic. beishang picked up the Lucian in game 1. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe something like that Aatrox in game 2, maybe a pick that he feels more comfortable on, not that the Lucian wasn't that great.
I like the Lucian here just because it is a takeaway from Condi's Lucian. That I understand that Condi's been prioritizing the Olaf anyways, but coming out and saying that we know that you love the Lucian, we've played with you for how long, right? So being able to say that I can come out and be able to have that pressure early on is always a benefit going into a 3-game series. If it was a best of 1, you'll probably see a Jarvan. But picking up the Lucian and recognizing that, hey, we're picking this away from you, and we'll see how it works out maybe going into game 2 and game 3. Now they got their first kill. So now W going into game 2, maybe they just say we'll pick up the Olaf away from you, and recognize that the early, early farming, being able to go into the enemy jungle and really just saying, hey, you have to forego your Raptor camp could be a priority. So I like the fact that they're getting into the minds of LGD and recognizing that their major power point is coming.
It'll be very similar as well because we still have beishang in. There are no subs from WE on red side. Once again, you saw how he was playing around the vision as well. And it's very easy to move through brushes when you have something like a Lee Sin, when you have a Varus to poke, Tahm Kench as well. Xiye can pretty much do the same thing. It's easy to move through brushes if you send post first and you have the backup to help clear it too.
Yeah, and I think those those decisions were being made fairly late into the game. Only because one thing that I loved about WE early, even though they were falling behind to those ganks, they saw them. I said that, but they saw them. So like the early wards that they had in the red side jungle that was seeing the path from Akali go bottom lane, the Olaf go bottom lane, like whenever the movement was happening, WE had that information. That reminded me of a time where WE could play that turtle playstyle.
Yeah.
So I wonder where they're going to be going towards, because this was a slower game where this could be, they could just end up playing it slow consistently and try and get xiye to his power spike, much later power spike.
I don't understand how we've gotten here after the way WE and LGD have played in the past.
Exactly. Or they can just go right back and saying, we're going back to blood, right? We're going back to the LeBlanc play. We're trying to get all of the gold onto xiye as fast as possible. So the flexibility is there. You don't often see teams that are below 500 that are really struggling, still kind of flexing between two styles.
And especially since in that below 500 bracket, WE and LGD sit there very firmly at the moment as well.
Yes.
Two teams that have struggled in the past couple of years. WE and LGD have both been to the world stage. It's kind of been long since then. 2017 was 2 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. That feels... Man, I feel old. I feel rough.
It's just 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. It's a very long 2 years.
But it feels, I would say, for both of these teams that, like, a few of these players tasted that international success. I think it matters a little bit more for, okay, for LGD it matters where shot calling coming through Condi, he's had that experience and now they can rely on him. They don't need PYL to be able to be that shot caller. So for them, it's information flowing through and confidence in that regard. And I'm speaking about confidence from WE's perspective. I think it means a lot to xiye that what he took away from last year is that he could be that individual carry and didn't have to go through Condi. And even though through the individual losses that he had with WE, he still had a gold medal at the end of the day when he had Asian games, like, be able to pick that up.
Very true.
And he played with other players that were mostly RNG players and got eyes into those comms. I think in terms of being able to command your lineup, xiye got so much from 2018. So going forward, it really is just a developmental question. I think both teams are heading in the right way. It's just not showing in the standings.
It's hard when xiye has to compete against someone like Mystic as well, who's kind of always been the standard or the focus of priority a lot of the time on WE.
Yeah.
I would then commend and say in 2019, xiye has already shown us the level of performance that he expects to continue on for the rest of the year. I like the Vladimir. I like the way that xiye is kind of walking into this series.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you wondering where I'm going with this?
I'm just saying that I'm afraid of 2019 Vladimir meta, because I remember when Athena was going strong in BLG, and it was just like, okay, Vladimir all the time, get this champion out of my face.
He kind of adds to the layer of again, bloodiness that we've talked about a little bit before. For WE and LGD, this is going to be a lot lower after game one, but hopefully it goes back up.
Yeah, I think it will. I think one of the best things about a best of three is that you get to really test yourself and test your limits. Something that they go through scrims quite frequently is this.
Yeah.
Is the fighting playstyle. And recognizing that you can play through your jungler, and if you sense a bit of weakness, as they did with the Fiddlesticks. I think the Fiddlesticks wasn't as successful early on because they had a good idea of what he was trying to accomplish.
It was part of the success that Condi brought down anyway. So.
Yeah. And so if they don't have to levy bans towards RD, and I think what they'll end up trying to do, they'll ban the Fiddlesticks, but not the Braum, and try and test RD's champion pool. Because if you look towards, and I know a lot of the analysts have, RD's, what he's been playing in solo queue, it's been very slim towards the Morgana, Soraka, and Fiddlesticks. So if that's been the case, because he's only really just this, I would say at the end of last year, been focusing on support play, then you can start to challenge him in particular in his role.
I'd be assuming this game, especially RD, might be challenged a little bit further, whether WEC, that the Fiddlesticks was a big component of LGD in Game 1, is up for contention, but something as simple as, going a totally different direction, as simple as the Urgot was very quiet in Game 1, was mainly about that Vladimir, but jungle did play a big part in the end too, and how it influenced the bottom lane.
One thing they showed LGD, that is that they can give away the Lucian, a must ban in today's meta.
Yeah.
And say that we will challenge you much later on where Lucian does fall off.
They prioritize Ezreal over it.
Exactly. Where Lucian does fall off because he has that mid-range. The mid-range that he had to deal with was harsh because the Vladimir would be able to eviscerate him. So it's really funny where in any other day, you'd look at this composition that WE picked up for themselves and say, a Varus for Mystic is huge because in his career, he's picked up the Varus, what, like 5 times? Yeah. Even though throughout the years of League of Legends, Varus has been a must-pick in a lot of teams, in a lot of metas. But he's willing to go towards it, be far more defensive, and give ownership of how the damage is being done across the map to xiye.
He's not someone you would dignify with, okay, look, it's going to be a Varus pick for Mystic for sure. So coming out of the woodwork a tiny bit, and that's what happens again when, you know, something like the Ezreal or some of his champions like the Ashes banned as well.
So what I would love to see going into this game is, especially since we know that W is going to be on red side, is early prioritize AD carries. Because we know that the AD carry bans have been something that LGD's been throwing in the way of WE. And it didn't work out too well, I think, for the Varus. He was getting pummeled a little bit too frequently in the early laning phases. They were comfortable with that, but I think that a better team would be able to punish that a little bit harder.
Yeah.
What I think that they should do is go towards a Kai'Sa pick early on. We've seen the usual go-tos for first phase being Kai'Sa and Alistar for most teams just because it's a great duo to pick up. And I really love missing Alistar. His Alistar and Thresh have been really strong. So I think even if he just goes Thresh and Kalista or whatever gives you the strongest early game and combat the enemy team, that is a big plus for me.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I would just add another note there as well that the Alistar was actually left open in that game as far as I'm concerned until that second ban phase. We saw a Brom ban, but it just wasn't prioritized at all considering it is our most popular support of the LPL.
It was a Tahm Kench priority, just being able to give the open idea for a Vayne in second phase. So giving a priority to a support that really can protect an AD carry no matter who it is. We don't get to see that a lot in the LPL. Usually it's just your bottom lane outright in first phase. So there's that creativity once again that Wei Xiao is willing to give his team.
Alright, jumping into game 2. I've seen the Wei Xiao fan about 4 times now, by the way.
Well, I think there are a lot of them. I'm not gonna. I swear, there's.
I feel like it's the same sign, unless you know that's a widely distributed sign. It probably is. How bloody hell would I know? Let's go into game 2, though, Raz. Enough of my antics. You talked heavily about Wei Xiao and the influence on this team in 2019, brand new year of WE, and game 1's a good one to start them off.
Ooh, a Tahm Kench ban, taking it away from WE. I like that. I think just the idea of Mystic being able to go into so many picks that should be harassed within the laning phase.
Yeah.
But not so hard because obviously that's just boom. Tahm Kench being able to save you so often. So that's a good takeaway.
Solo kill king, by the way, in the mid lane. All right, first pick. Lissandra just locked in. Why not? It's been a heavy priority. See it in game 1.
Yeah, and I think the priority for WE now that Lucian's been left open is, of course, Lucian and Braum. What I love about the Lucian pick is that it does it gives you the wantings to pick up a Braum pick.
Yeah.
Braum is usually left to the wayside to the supports of like Alistar, Tahm Kench. But when you have the ability to utilize Braum passive so easily, why not?
Used to be a pretty stock standard first 2 picks on red side as well. So are we setting ourselves up for it, or is the Urgot? It is still priority.
It's all just because WE, look at their bans. Zoe is a fine one we've seen throughout the LPL, but Kai'Sa and York you don't see too much on red side bans. So even saying that Cassiopeia is open for most regions is like, what, really? Jaw-dropping. Both of these carries, I think Mystic has played far more mage AD carries, or just ADs in bot lanes in general.
Yep.
So it's up for him to pick up, and xiye is such an excellent Cassiopeia player. So opening up saying that we don't expect Yuuki, an assassin player, to pick it up. We don't expect Kramer to pick it up for himself. So WE just playing that risk game. It's game 2, and they have the win, so they have that opening for a mistake.
And especially on red side, they've already got 2 very strong picks. LGD have opted into the Camille instead. Now we find out really if they're just going to let that one go, or if we suddenly start going, right, that could be a Lucian in a different lane.
I really want to see a Galio pick from RD. I don't know why he deprioritizes. He's going to try and pick away the Thresh from missing. But Galio and Camille has made what was the old 2017 just all-in composition work so well for old WE. Condi knows that comp so well, it's so easy to utilize. I know he still has the Lissandra who can follow up with him, but Galio has been such a strong flex pick right now in the meta.
It's almost ironic that it would be set up from LGD side due to Condi. WE playing the Condi game themselves in number 2. They locked down Olaf instead of something like the Lucian or even the Jarvan that was a possibility.
Big risk here from WE, leaving the support pick to second phase, because now if you're LGD, you already banned the Tahm Kench. You can start banning away the Alistar and Braum.
Instead, no. It's going to be Kalista. All right. Pick a ban. Bit back and forth here.
I'm just talking about LGD's ban. So LGD should be the one banning Alistar and Braum. The Kalista ban makes a lot of sense. You want to deny the Kalista Thresh lane that LGD has an option to. And Kramer is a hell of a Kalista, so it makes a big amount of sense. Then you can say, an Ezreal would be a fine and safe ban. They're going to leave it open for whatever reason.
Second time the ban's on, the final ban of phase number 2 as well. So second support to come through. It's Alistar still open and available.
Should just be an Alistar banning. Alistar and Lucian is still a great all-in threat. Okay.
Okay, well, xiye did enough in game number 1 to threaten the Vladimir ban.
I don't agree with that. It also gives them an engage option if you're WE. Like, think of it, the fact that they can go, they have an Olaf pick, so their composition with Olaf and Urgot doesn't have a, headbutt pulverizer. The ease of use now give them an Alistar, and they have that. So I think that's a poor ban from LGD. Definitely scarred from the Vladimir game. I asked the question of what would their band-aid be between game 1 and game 2, because you can't just give them more outward aggression. You can't just say be a better team in game 2. That's something that you go throughout the weeks of practice and scrims, unless if you say, hey, maybe we can just throw NPWL into the mix. But wow.
Okay. I mean, this is, going away from the Band-Aid solution, LGD just taking a different route entirely. And it wasn't the Alistar locked in, it was the Galio, so I guess that's why LGD are like, let's play Kramer on Vayne.
Galio is a great all-in anyway. So remember, I already talked about the way that, Olaf works. Just send the Galio on top of him. But Vayne, like, what the heck? Like, Vayne gets pummeled by that, by the Lucian. I think the laning phase isn't going to be too easy for Kramer, but he's going to have the space to work with the Camille and Lissandra.
So many damage threats on the side of LGD. Makes perfect sense. Let's just make another one. And RD's going to have his work cut out for him this game, to say the very least. But last pick there, most likely for xiye, is going to be the Corki.
Corki, we've seen so much of him last week.
We did.
It's actually real fun.
It was actually a Yuuki pick.
Yes. So seeing how many Corki picks that have gone through so far in the LPL without the AD carry changes really goes to show how confident these teams are to go into the later portions of the game.
And if we go to that later portion as well, you're like, all right, Corki. Lucian might fall off in comparison to Vayne. Still have a Lissandra. There's an Urgot there as well. And it seems like it's a bit of a trade-off on both teams.
Remember, Hexdrinker is a must pick up for xiye, or at least for Corki, in a lot of these AP matchups. That's why you see a lot of Corki, because while his laning phase, you can't really reliably gank it. It doesn't have the CC quite obviously because it's an AD pickup, but Valkyrie gives you safety. And on top of that, you can itemize Hexdrinker to also add that level of safety against bad matchups. So it's real fun to see how well you can do in lane with that when you have fleet footwork. The sustain is helping you out, and then every 4 minutes you hear the sound for your package, and you can look for a play. If the bottom lane is disrespecting, look bottom lane. If every lane is safe, then you can actually work to get great vision towards the river and blue side jungle. It's actually a really good pick if you want to get some vision working in your favor.
Seemed to be the issue in game 1 of xiye actually moving with the roam from Yuuki, so at least this will quell it to some point. We know Lissandra into Corki can be quite annoying there, but especially if Yuuki is able to push out the wave and then leave again towards the bottom side.
Yeah, we should expect that. Lissandra is the best mid laner in being able to get priority for herself. The fact that now you have that in unison with a great level 2 ganking jungler in the Camille, LGD once again have a stellar early game.
LGD have moved their way into a draft that can only be explained as exciting. And one way to explain WE is on the verge of the end of 9.2 into the next patch. Let's go into game 2 anyway and see where we land ourselves in this series. How?
What do you mean?
TSM, get out of here.
Yeah, there are a few of them out there.
It's been a while since I've heard a TSM chant.
I mean, last year they weren't successful, so you weren't hearing it at all.
Oh, yeah.
Not even in a NA. But now you're hearing a few. And it's not ironic either.
No, not anymore. All right, so for WE Raz, I've got a little fun stack for you. Or stat is actually what it's called. Yep. Before we do, look, it is actually footwork on the Corki, but I'm going to mention this is the 71st Urgot game in the top lane.
That's fun.
It is,
and it's a stat.
It's a very rare, it's a very interesting stat. I mean, I should have said the last game when it was 70, but you know.
Yeah, would have rounded that one up nicely.
Yeah, just to bother everyone out there who's got OCD. 71. Enjoy that. That's a great ward again. WE getting these wards.
It's mostly there for the Camille.
Yeah.
Camille is a great level 2 ganker, so just having the vision of her being bot side gives you 2 bits of information. That Missing and Mystic needs to back away, and on top of that, the fact that she can go straight towards the Scuttle Crab immediately afterwards. So that's why beishang is looking. He's hunting.
Good rotation from the WE jungler. Scuttle Crab hasn't started. They're going to take the fight. Missing goes in with Shield of Duran, but hook shot away just in time from Condi. Where does he go? Through the lane while Mystic just free fires.
Oh no, the minion. Okay, he didn't fire in the extra auto attack that Mystic was presented. But remember, this is awful here for Condi. He can no longer get the Scuttle Crab immediately after. And he's in the opposite side for the second Scuttle Crab. Very realistically, you would see beishang picking up both.
Where can he go from here to the Krugs, excuse me? Then he'll just have to veer all the way up to the top side, and beishang picks up the first Scuttle. And is going to drop some more deep vision, edge up towards the second again. No, actually going for the invade.
I'm sorry, Camille will not be going for Raptors. He just needs to go top side immediately. So the fact that Olaf didn't just cut through mid lane to go for Scuttle Crab means that he's just trying to get as much experience bot side and wants to be in the area, because blue buff for him is still up. So for him going red buff to bot side, he doesn't want to really path right back top side.
It's interesting clear, especially since he now has the opportunity to gank that mid lane, which I'm not too sure about the vision there. beishang could have gotten in, but still level 3 Lissandra makes it very hard to lock down Yuuki at this early in the game. So back to blue buff it is.
Alright, now he can go for his full clear. He shouldn't be disturbed any longer. Just expect him to go for a full clear throughout his blue side. Maybe pick up Raptors as well, just in case Camille has any ideas. Then he can go for his boots. And then probably outside, I would love for him to go for a top lane gank if possible. It just really depends on how the trades have been going between Lies and Pose, and if the wave advantage is there so he can actually get something going.
Slowly pushing towards Post, so there would be good timing there. Condi, a bit of a heads-up play, thinking that the red buff was started and it would be a return. Rather actually going for the gank.
There's no information about this too. You know Camille's top side, but not sure if this... Don't make it a dive. It's not possible.
Level 3 versus level 4. Teleports coming in as well.
Oh, this will make it possible.
Wants to make it happen. Versus 3. Post is just walking away. What? Let's make a call. What's going on?
All right, this is hard. All right, back to the mid lane you go, Yuuki.
No. I'm going to help you with Krugs.
This is actually really tough. Post is going to be denied from a huge wave. That's why he's committing to just sitting there. Corki is not in the lane, so now Corki is finally pushing. Finally, Yuuki can lose something, so he's going to back away. It was a perfect timing for him to stick around, knowing that xiye had picked his base timing there.
Considering you already committed to the teleport, I mean, you may as well. The wave will crash just in time, like you mentioned.
He's not going to lose too much, because just that one minion, boom, and then that's it. It's a cannon wave, so he's going to be just fine. That was a time well spent here from Yuuki.
Picks up to level 5 as well. xiye goes up for the control ward in the pixel brush towards the top side, which now seems to be very volatile in the matchup, considering Lies is once again got the push into the turret. Wonder if Condi goes up, because Scuttle Crab is respawning soon as well. And with that said pixel brush ward, that's going to provide a lot of information towards WE. beishang is heading towards it as well.
It just depends. Most Olafs, looking at the laning phase situation, like xiye's been pushing up now. You just don't think it's going to be the consistent push, especially if you're looking at how often Yuuki has been using his minion dematerializer. That's why he's going to be going bot side, away from his own Scuttle Crab top, because you're at that point expecting Yuuki to get control of the lane. Take a look at this though.
There's an improvised gank from Condi. Flashes in, gets the sweep down. xiye level 5. Won't have the barrage, and beishang just throws an undertow, the 2v2. Pretty much that's it.
Was really surprised with how much damage that was able to come down. Even more surprised that Condi wasn't willing to flash in as well.
Yep.
If you look for a flash in follow-up, he was thinking that, okay, xiye has both cleanse and flash, so if I don't have an idea of where beishang is, then that will work out poorly for me. So he takes the safer option.
Picks up Scuttle Crab after the trade as well, able to clear the vision. xiye is forced back, however, and the wave will crash in, meaning he will actually lose a couple of those minions.
For Camille to be topside, you're right. I think not only just the minions being lost here, mostly the fact that beishang was able to pick up Raptors as a response. So he was able to nab away Condi's Raptors, I think he should be able to pick up Raptors of his own top side. So it's an interesting trade-off, and I think xiye comes out the better of that.
I think it's an interesting jungle choice from both. It's a very unique style that's interacting with each other. beishang and Condi a level apart at the moment, but Condi being 10 CS down.
Good control ward here that's from Lies. If you're blue side and you're able to place down that control ward, that's with the confidence that you have to do something with it, because that could easily be taken away. Just take a look at Urgot. I think he knows that the control ward is there. At the very least would want to place his own regular ward and can be able to clear that out.
Means that he knows there's going to be no vision there, and beishang can probably enter through that try. Lies, it's just so easy for Renekton to push up a wave as well, so there's no choice really for Lies but to force himself into that turret.
Now Condi's found himself in such a tough situation. Just take a look at the level advantage through junglers. Level 6 to level 4 for Condi. He's been hunting for ganks and losing out in farm.
Should be feeling confident that he can make the gank into top lane. That's beishang. Lies pops the ult. Hang on. 1v2. It's Renekton. The ultimate flashed away from by Lies. Actually finds the trade.
Are you
Slice
so close?
And dice. The Dominus. Yes, sir. No, sir. First blood over to beishang instead.
He played that so well.
Oh,
flashed the ultimate from Urgot, so the execution range wasn't there to start. Going into that one, beishang thought this was going to be the easiest gank of his life. I have my ultimate. I don't even need to use it. So he backs away. He's like, okay, maybe I do need to. The moment Paus's ultimate was dodged out, he's like, I'm in danger. I actually have to flash, and even then, I think I'm going to die.
Almost actually took beishang down as well. Another combo with the slice and dice and culling the meek. Or weak, whatever it is. Would have actually done it for Lies there, so you can see why people in the LPL want to play that Renekton. We talk so heavily about the earlier fights snowballing the lanes. Renekton has the ability to do so, even 20 CS up in that top lane at the moment with 1 death.
That's why I was afraid of beishang going topside when he was in the Lucian pick, because that's how close that gank could go for you.
Yeah.
There are a few lanes that you do not ever want to gank. There's an Aurelia post 6. It's a Brand at 6. Darius is another one. That's fair enough. We won't see it in competitive play.
Probably Riven, which we do see in competitive play.
We see that one now. And certainly the Renekton, especially with how easy it is for him to proc the press the attack. So you saw how close that one got. But beishang, I mentioned it before, he is super ahead of the matchup with how well he's been able to path. Going towards the Raptors and being able to pick it up. And I'm talking about the enemy Raptors, picking that one up so frequently. Camille has been so focused on the ganks that haven't been paying off, and so he's been losing out purely in experience.
But you know Condi, he'll try and he'll try again, just like in game 1 where the bottom lane didn't work out 2 to 3 times, and he made the 4th one count. But this game, it's a very different feeling. This time it looks like beishang is prioritizing the bottom lane.
Here comes Yuuki though. I have Camille as well. This one should work out just because of the elements of surprise. He should only know now that Condi's coming topside. He clears out the war. Oh, this is actually just hard now. You don't have a wave.
Yeah, Post is next to the turret.
You got nothing, my friend. Are you doing it without it?
Post they're going in. They do lock him down. Post has popped onto the Purge. 1v3. What can the Urgot do? Not enough this time, but still underneath the turret. We look down bottom. Mystic dies down to RD. Kramer's been ignited. Mystic can just turn this around. Final hour. Comes in with the undertow. Viking angry again. Run, Kramer, run! What's going to happen next? beishang gets condemned back. What a good Vayne. Undertow lands. Oh, come on! We're so close, but WE's jungler finds his third in the midst of the fray while Condi gets post in the top lane.
I don't even know how Urgot found himself in that part of the map.
It was next to turret.
He ran the distance. But the best part about that was legitimately Kramer's almost outplay. I think you're right. He played that out as well as he could. But beishang's going to be able to pick up the kills, plural. And then on top of that, the dragon as well.
So what actually happened in the top lane? I'm very, very curious.
Look, the LPL observers will not let it go. Whenever you're like, I don't think we need to see that replay. And this time around, we definitely see that replay. We always see the replay.
It'll be after Rift Herald being taken by LGD. So they get topside priority. They eventually will get contested here. But Condi get it. Thank you. But he might actually die for this hook shot. Whoa shot. xiye. Fly, baby, fly. Woo! 1, 2. Okay, let's go, Earth. Hit him. Nicely done.
That must feel super good. Dab on him. That's your old teammate. But the double dab?
Double bang with
dab. You don't
get
get to see that. What does it mean?
This is not the answer I was looking for, Raz, but maybe it might turn into one.
We'll see both of them. But we'll see at the very beginning. Kramer, the reason why they went all in on him, Galio didn't have the damage. They thought they did. The fact that they were able to turn on that and Vayne was able to come out so scot-free, I would say poor communication, because you saw the Olaf in the area, and if that's the case, you can hold off a bit of time. We're not going to get our answer for the top lane. You can only imagine. For me, I will just call it out for you. That was the craziest dive in the top lane I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
He was so... he thought he was free. He was running the distance, huffing, puffing, but then the Camille chased him down. It was like when you found yourself out of prison. You know, you're like, I thought I escaped.
I'm free.
But the dogs run faster than me. I definitely don't outrun the dogs.
Oh, poor Pose. He tried so hard as well.
Got ripped to shreds.
But now it makes it even in the top lane again, so both having the death on the board, but both junglers actually committing to the play as well. And Condi picks up the warrior, but
he picks up a lot on... I mean, no, I'm talking about in particular, I mean beishang.
Yeah,
the one kill for Condi was there. He got Urgot. But my god, did beishang get that much more. I talked about what you do and you get a lot of kills underneath you. If you're an Olaf, okay, we get the entire thing. He found himself out there. He was breaking out. He got his ghost. He was like, get me out of here. I don't know what the end game is. He even flashed! That's a big win. I'll say, the fact that you were able to get the flash off Camille while bot lane was happening, ran the distance.
A very impressive feat from Pose. So, not able to get away in the end, but able to impress just that little bit more. WE make it worth on the bottom side of the map while Pose gets engaged on again with the Rift Herald coming up. But it's going to be a big trade here, considering that in the bottom lane, beishang is just having the time of his life again. They lock down Kramer, but RD, he's dead here. There's no way you're getting out. He's dead, Master Wayne. They find one, and the top side is going to be the response.
A kill and a bottom lane turret, but you're right with the response on the top side of the map. This should be a lot of damage on top lane inner, and it should give LGD some priority. So like being able to push this one in. Oh, Condi's looking for this. This is a little bit much.
Well, Urgot, is he able to take down his half-brother in Rift Herald? No, he's not. He has to flee the scene. Rift Herald's hitting the turret. Just get that proc off. Go, Lies. Attaboy. In a turret. This will drop, actually, because Post just can't walk towards it. Very speedy early game now from LGD. And they're going to go on to Post as well. This is unexpected, considering that Yuuki's coming up here as well. Fear Beyond Death, but deleted the icicle. Oh, it's cold in here. LGD get the gank off.
Even that xiye come and rotate from the mid lane. I think the only reason why that works so well is because for whatever reason, WE wasn't able to get the bottom lane turret. They dove so deep for the kill, but didn't then turn for the actual turret. beishang left helping top lane when he was there attempting to get the turret bot side. So LGD come up as such major winners of that.
And it's amazing considering how far behind they actually are in that jungle matchup, that Condi's making it work through the top side. Now only 600 gold because of that inner turret being taken. 2 objectives, in fact,
and they
LGD.
still have to send Mystic and missing bottom lane. That's what's so crazy about this, because bottom lane's still going to be priority with the next dragon coming up.
Yep.
So they just lose out in so much. LGD must be major winners, being able to now send Renekton wherever you can. Mid lane is going to be the inevitably focus, I think. Look at how low the tower is. Sure, it's just like less than a third HP that's just taken away. But you can still now use Lies for a possible dive on top of xiye. Much easier now when Camille gets her ultimate. So it's going to be rough for WE if they want to slow the pace of the game down.
Having said that, though, xiye has just picked up the Trinity Force, so if he's able to burst them out and get that range advantage that is now available with the package and the spatula in hand, xiye can put some work down on the side of LGD. Remember, they still have the gold advantage, still 2,000 in favor of WE at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, I think so far what they've been able to do to get the kills on top of beishang, I want to see beishang pay it forward. I spoke about what you do when you get those advantages, already working towards his Black Cleaver. That's not going to be a redemption pickup here because he is so strong right now. So Kramer and RD already felt it when he was bot side. I think he's going to pay a few more visits. Before this dragon comes up, you know, actually he's just right in position. I think he might even just look to try and solo it out.
Yeah, why not? Especially since Kramer and RD probably have to face check this one. Or there's a ward in the back of the pit, so I do take that back. It will be the face check of WE.
You should definitely pull the dragon out. Look at how well in position Missing and Mystic is. Even Corki coming into the side. So they have push in these adjacent lanes. They have the opportunity for a pick. If you pull the dragon out, make it harder for Condi.
He's going into xiye by himself. Here comes the hero's entrance. Condi so quick to the chase, and they'll find the death sentence on the Missing, but the fight for WE is already in their hands. xiye, come here. Plays on his little pelican again. Missing will be the trade-off, but for WE, they continue to fight forward. Fear Beyond Death on Delize. He has to flash away. Culling just goes straight in. Kramer, here's the Vayne play you want to see from a Freak of Freaks to LGD.
Oh.
Career, it's not enough. He does find the trade-off, but WE ultimately win the fight.
Enough to at least get a kill back. That was well done. Mystic and Missing both fall, but that was such a well-orchestrated play from WE. They were in position for the fight. They were goading Condi, and he just goes for it. Both of his deaths are to his former mid laner in xiye. xiye has constantly just been out for him. That's because Condi put himself out to danger to start.
He went really deep into this fight, Raz. Like, look at this.
What's the purpose of this? At this point, Yuuki doesn't even want any bit of that. He still has his ultimate, but wants the rest of the damage to follow through. You have to wait until the Vayne comes in. Before Vayne finally comes and joins the fight, you already see RD losing out like about 80% of his HP, and Camille is already dead. So the setup was not fair from LGD. They weren't patient enough.
And Kramer, look, I mean, to that regard as well, Kramer was the most patient one of the lot, just waiting to the end to pop that final hour. 2 kills on the Vayne, almost with the second item, but mainly Mystic is doing a lot more damage in these fights because he has that front line and he has that 40 CS advantage.
I like what we're getting to see here from Team WE. It's getting much better in playing around their major carries. This time it's beishang. Remember his Aatrox game when they went up against OMG?
Yeah.
He can take over a game.
I want to remind you, Raz, WE had the highest bloodiness stat in the league. This game is building up to it once again.
You relax. Bloodiness at 15. Okay. Currently the highest bloodiness overall is IG with a ridiculous 1.05 rating. But it means that they're able to get that off when they have a small lead early on. They keep fighting. That's their early game advantage. It's in the kills. It's in through these ganks.
We might actually see the ball fighting. Hello, Lies. Xiye's already gone out, but turns his back around. Teleport coming in just to save the day. Lies now running away. The Viking all the way back in. Ragnarok's down. Urgot in. And xiye secures the deal.
The kills are coming through so easily. And Kramer at this point only looking for the tower. I don't know if he wants this.
This is going to keep happening. xiye can just keep pushing down. The 304 Corki with the BF sword is just going to destroy these turrets quickly.
But they need to pull themselves away from this, because while they're taking the quick gold, overall they're losing the objective across the top side of the map. Inner top lane tower, the outer mid lane turret.
Yep.
These are also important. If they lose that outer mid lane turret, then they essentially lose both sides of the map because it's so easy to dig into the red side jungle and blue side and just place those wards.
It's super difficult as well. If they lose that mid lane turret, the vision, like you said, is just going to be even more difficult to obtain for LGD, considering when this Baron's coming up towards the top side, but rather that next Mountain Drake, which is going to be pretty big for LGD to test.
Now you see what Corki did? Now I forget which player did it. A disgusting build was someone just went Infinity Edge first in 9.2. Never do that. He has a zeal now, and that's what you should do. This is Live starting it out, going towards xiye. And in this case, like, the moment they didn't get to see Olaf come behind him, it's more so Live should have recognized that he was going to be the weak side of the map with Camille being bot side. So for him going on to xiye, he should expect that was going to happen. Speaking of expecting that.
Live's caught out, Culling's into him, Dominus out, dead.
He only has a Black Cleaver and a BF sword. I would expect the BF to be going into the... I mean, it looks like it's a possible Essence Reaver.
Oh, just pick up GA at this point.
I know a GA is what I'm expecting, but I'm seeing something different. So we'll have to see if he ends up picking up
Essence Reaver.
Yeah.
Why not? Well, missing, charging up the shield of Durand. More tensions building in the mid lane.
So Essence Reaver is great for a Renekton that's ahead. You ultimate, you're in the midst, you're just literally slicing and dicing, armor shred galore, your Q. It's so nice to see when you can just shred an entire enemy team, but he is so far behind that he will get blown up.
Yeah. When you're ahead. Key words there for Lies to listen to.
1, 4, and 2, and you already saw what happened the last time he went topside.
It's not often that you see LGD so far behind so early on, especially when Lies is on a carry. They lose another mid lane turret, more gold in the back pocket of WE. Look at Yuuki. Raz, he hasn't gone Infinity Edge. I'm glad to see the rapid fire cannon, so he actually has some crit to build that IE into.
Yeah, xiye picking up the rapid fire cannon is what you should be going towards. There's always the fear of not having enough damage to pair up with the rapid fire cannon and Trinity Force, but having the BF sword just sitting there is a good adaptation.
It was a 3,000 gold lead in the mid lane from xiye to Yuuki. Definitely the ideal Corki game you want to have for WE at 21 minutes in. Now Baron's sitting up, but WE have no interest. They're going towards the bottom side. Lies is just being bullied. Even when he gets that Essence Reaver, yeah, he's just going to get nuked.
Right now, if you're LGD, your saving grace is going to be Kramer. Kramer has already had the mechanics, and he's picked up his Winsu's Rage Blade. So he has his 2 item. That's excellent to see. And that should shred through beishang regardless of the amount of kills that he has. Oh my god.
Well, hang on. Someone's just being called out. That's Condi. Kramer pushing off a Mystic. Flashing away. Condi, will he die here? Yes, he will. Ragnarok in with the flash down. Hammer down as well. Heroic entrance all the way in. A grand return for the Galio. Missing in. Flash forward. There goes Post. Can he die, though? It's about Kramer in the backline. They do find one. WE are low. The Vayne with the final hour hasn't been popped, or rather, it's off cooldown. Onto Yuuki. He's dead next. And Mystic chasing up the fight. The winds of war. Strike true again. Oh. Great flash from Kramer. What a mechanical genius. Kramer survives, not going to chase the fight, but WE come close to losing it all.
Yeah, put that one in the Vayne highlight reel, but it doesn't matter when you have your own teammates dead around you. Excellent T-front from Team WE to just run them through. Condi getting picked out, trying to face check that bush when he didn't have much HP to begin with, so really not a great idea, but if you look at his team, who's going to be the one doing so?
Yep.
At this point, boom. That's a lot of damage to start off with, and he's already squishy at this point because he didn't have much gold at the very beginning of the game. So easy kill from Team WE to start, and look at Kramer. How does he actually get the kill onto Olaf? I talked about it being easy if he gets that 1v1 situation, but Galio ultimate saves him. Then he has to deal with Post, and by the time he gets past Post, you already see beishang going straight through you.
Almost killed beishang with the passive from Yuuki. LGD force fight on turret. Let's watch this. Woo! Oh yeah,
that's fun to watch.
That's some good, and that's what sucks. You just taunted her, so she got the final proc of Silver Bolt anyway, even though he was going to die. 4-2-1 on Vayne. Now it may be a bad news story for LGD, but 7,000 gold behind doesn't matter to a Vayne that can find these fights.
Not much follow up for the hook, so just the hook, just to
Well, hang on, WE, what a follow up, Condi. And Yuuki both survived there, but you can see the pressure around getting locked down by missing.
Let's see, last time we saw Condi with Camille, he was decent. He was even in the game, so he was going towards the Trinity Force. He had the ability to do that. It was much slower in game back. Went straight towards the Guardian Angel because at this point, at least he can dive whenever he has it up. But you could already see the issue of that. Diving in when it's not up because he died earlier on, he is paper being shred through, especially with WE's composition, just being able to go straight at you. The bruiser for Olaf and Pose just does way too much to him.
Constantly getting caught out seems to be the issue this game for sure. Now, want to divert your attention to Lies at the top lane. He has the Essence Reaver.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Right now, Urgot lasts far longer in the team fight than he does.
And probably does more damage at this point anyway.
If he's really hoping that, I think either RD gets a great hook on, let's say, Lucian or xiye, or Condi can find the opportunity to get in there. They need the Wombo before he can come in.
Might be too late though. Because Baron's just being taken down by 2 members. We'll finally get spotted out, but again, too late. WE secure the objective nice and easy, 9,000 gold at 25 minutes.
That's bark and bite. You have enough pressure for this much into the game. The gold lead is there, 9k gold. Stop dabbing, man. At least just don't do it. You did it before. You keep doing it. He's doing it whenever he's in vision. Whenever he's in vision of LGD and LGD can see it, he's doing it. And you can't mute it.
It's cheeky. Oh, that's right. You can't mute emotes.
Yeah, you can't do it.
But you can mute ping. Which, makes no sense. There's no balance. 3 items for xiye now as well. And this is the dream WE game. This is clean. It's clinical to a degree. I've gotten past that early game where it's back and forth towards these fights. And now we've just got a WE that is making the decisions that Game 1 didn't really allow us to see.
Ooh, Corki's here with him. He has a package. This is going to be nice to see along with the wave. So,
whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage, and he still has his W. So he can walk up much further because any CC that comes in, he can just use it at the exact same time, and it doesn't inhibit him.
Yeah, xiye can probably dive this. Kramer is nowhere nearby. He's sitting in the mid lane. It's 3 versus 2, and WE still have full control. Haven't seen the 1v1 on the 80 carries, but at this point we know who would win.
All eyes on beishang. beishang has his Guardian Angel. He's really close to being able to pick back his passive here. So what I'd love to see is beishang and missing just go straight forward And being able to deal with the front line is actually not difficult at all. Condi and Lies are quite easy to take down.
They're just backing away. Missing is not there. Hero's entrance should have the range. And either way, WA with 3 members down in the bottom lane. They take down the turret. They're going to take down the inhibitor. LGD cannot defend this with the Baron buff, and Yuuki has to be careful of this other mid laner. She is just putting in the works here with this missile barrage.
Predator's just back up too from beishang. If the fight starts, he's ready.
They have to start it up with Condi. The hero's engine finally comes in. xiye gets low, burning down. Will he eventually go down? No. So for WE, the fight's still reasonable here. RD into the mix of it as well. But this is definitely not what you want. Kramer, what can he achieve? Nothing. It's all over there for LGD with the triple going to post, and WE charging towards that Nexus for a 2-0 in the away stadium against LGD. WE start climbing up towards that middle of the split.
Faster than their average game time. WE looking like a cleaner and cleaner team. The momentum that they had in their victory versus OMG is paying it forward. This was fun. I felt like their plan in game 1 was well played, being able to constantly have the vision to see LGD trying to act. This time around, they had pressure, and it was gone through beishang. We haven't seen much of beishang, but damn, I want to see a lot more of it.
Oh my god, it's another 2-0 from, rather 2 strong games from beishang. So you have to wonder, what are they feeding this jungler in WE?
A lot of meat.
A lot of meat.
This game, a lot of, I'd say a lot of Condi.
I would be surprised if they didn't run beishang a lot more from now on. WE looking calm, in control, comfortable. You said they cleaned up a lot of their gameplay and are playing around different avenues now as well.
I think the communication is certainly something that they tend to focus on as an organization. And bringing in beishang a lot more headstrong and being able to bring Missing into the mix. Missing has been playing well. Remember, he's the best of Rift from supports here. And beishang being a strong individual player so far in the split, they've been actually able to now double team and help out xiye when he's inside lane.
Yep.
xiye, when he ended up going inside lane when he was Vladimir, they played slow enough so they can allow him to accrue the experience and farm. In game 2, he picked up the Corki, and guess what? He was getting opened up on by the Renekton, but Renekton is on the weak side of the map, and they let him pay it for it. So WE is a lot more coordinated now than they were last year, a lot more coordinated now than they were in the beginning of the split.
Kind of brings up new questions about LGD here in this game as well. I mean, they had a win condition, they knew what they were playing towards, but it's hard when beishang just is everywhere around the map.
I think the hardest part about that, you're right about beishang. beishang was in the right parts where he was going for your Raptor camp, and he had a 2-level advantage early on.
Yeah.
That was legitimately a level 6 Olaf ganking top lane, while the Camille was like pushed away from her own Raptor camp bot side, all of that, and was level 4 fishing for ganks, but there were so many well-positioned wards. That's something that was so strong for WE in the past, where their early wards would keep their lane safe. They didn't have that for so long, for like last year in 2018. It's nice that they're being able to get that back.
And it was a change from game 2 as well. Small adaptations for WE. Game 1 was about regaining some of the vision control because LGD had so much priority on it. But game 2, they were ahead from the get-go. They started prioritizing that. So little changes there, and maybe more commendable of Wei Xiao and what he took away from the drawing board of game 1 to game 2.
Yeah, and I think what we got to see was, even though like the game-to-game adaptations were certainly there, it felt like the practice sessions that they've had through scrims, like the off-season going into this one, were so much more beneficial to this team than anyone else, because they got to really understand what their identity should be. And it's more so picking back up on what they left behind in 2017. Now a lot of that benefit's coming back.
And it makes sense that they were one of your teams to watch, especially WE, starting to climb up that leaderboard. We'll see how they go in the coming weeks. However, our next game up, not match of the week, but might be match of the week. We're calling it IG versus Suning. This one's going to be big. We'll see you soon.